What's up? What's good? It's your girl Jasmine back when I be on the channel. Yes, man. Yes, sir. Yes, man. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. So, y'all know the saying. Actually, you might not know the saying if you're new to this channel. First time ever clicking on my videos. I appreciate you clicking because you didn't have to click. I hope you watch this video all the way through and you enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? If you end up enjoying, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on that post notification bell, man. And if you're a consistent supporter and you rock with me, you watch all my videos all the way through, and you got that post notification bell turn on and hit that subscribe button, I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be here without you. Hope you guys will enjoy this video. This was a highly requested video. The 1986 Celtics. Y'all kept telling me, dude, you got to watch the 1986 Celtics making the case. Let's get into it because I'm excited. I wonder why 1986 Celtics. Because I think they say the best Celtic team was like, I might be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. They said the best Celtic team was like 1973 because they went like 68-14. But that's just off the top of my head. I could be wrong, so don't come for me. But if I'm right, hey, y'all already know, dude. Comment down below. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, push that notification bell. Let's get it.
Some quick background. In the 1985 NBA Finals, the Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Celtics behind the heroic efforts of Magic Johnson and Finals MVP Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. It was the first time in history that the Lakers had defeated the Celtics in the Finals, going back as far as 1959. In the ensuing offseason, the Celtics made key roster moves, licked their wounds, then rattled off a league-high 67 wins on their way to raising the franchise's 16th championship banner. Their 67-15 record stands as the best record in Celtics history, and their 15-3 playoff.
Okay, so was I wrong then? So maybe I was wrong. I want to Google it, but that's just gonna take up more time, and I know y'all got me in those comments because y'all be correcting me if I'm wrong, which I really do appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I'm growing each day, especially with this. I know I make mistakes, so just come to me in a respectful way. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it, you know? But like I said, let me know if I was right or wrong about that other stat that I said earlier in the video. But let's go.
Record serves as a testament to their aptitude on both ends of the court. They trotted out the original Big Three of Robert Parish, Kevin McHale, and the immortal Larry Bird, a dynamic backcourt of Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge, and boasted a talented bench anchored by former league MVP Bill Walton.
I didn't know he was on there.
Now, before we go any further, I want to reach out to some of you out there. Some of you might be a little jaded about this team, and that's because some of the most prominent and influential figures in sports media were around for and swear by this team. Your Bill Simmons, your Jackie McMullins, your Bob Bryans, they all have a connection to this squad in some way or another, so the discourse around the 86 Celtics has always had a certain amount of Boston-centric bias. I want you to know that I have no such bias. I was born and raised in Kansas.
Is that him?
I don't give a shit about Boston. Dunkin' Donuts can go to hell as far as I'm
him to throw that in his
and
video.
I'm here to tell you that just because those writers were a little bit biased doesn't mean that they're wrong. With that said, where else do we start with the 86 Celtics than with Larry Bird? 1986 saw Bird take home his third straight MVP, joining the historic company of just Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
Excuse me, did he say third straight? He won 3 consecutive? Who did that? Nobody else had done that, right? Because Giannis and Curry won back-to-back twice, right? That's it? Is that the most that we have since Bird? Right? I'm scared on that response because I don't know. That's just me thinking. But I don't know.
Never before had a forward submitted a better season than Bird's 7th campaign. He slapped up a 26, 10, and 7 and was decimal points away from submitting a 50, 40, 90 season.
Dang.
The man had a superlative basketball IQ
50, 40,
and remains,
90.
for my money, the clutchest player to ever put leather through nylon.
Period.
He had a blend of all-around skills that began garnering him GOAT talk from people like Bob Cousy and Jerry West. His tenacity on the boards defied his 6'9" frame. His creativity was tantamount to Tesla, and his infectious passing gave the team an identity that remains as impressive and timeless now, some 35 years later, as it was back then. He finished the season ranked 7th in rebounds, 4th in points, 13th in assists, 8th in steals, and 2nd in minutes played. So elevated was his level of play that he admitted to getting bored in games and looking for ways to entertain himself, like taking increasingly ridiculous shots or playing portions of games left-handed.
Speaking of Jerry West, do y'all feel like because he's the NBA logo, correct? Who voted for that? You know, like who voted for him to be the NBA logo? Because you think about all players that we have seen, even during that time, like what made him the NBA logo? I would like to hear y'all opinion. Like, do y'all agree with that? Y'all cool with that? Do you feel like somebody else should be the NBA logo? Like, talk to me on that.
At the other forward spot was Kevin McHale. After back-to-back 6th Man of the Year awards as a super sub, 86 was McHale's first season as a starter,
up and under.
and he immediately began producing at an all-NBA level. With his 6'10" height and unsettlingly long limbs, McHale earned a reputation as one of the great...
I'm telling y'all, I did not know McHale was like it. I did not know until somebody was like, yo, McHale was nice. I did not know that. Come on, footwork.
Two-way players in the league. Defensively, he was mobile and springy enough to move with quicker swingmen while being long and strong enough to contest interior scorers.
Okay, get that out of here.
Offensively, there's a reason that Olajuwon and McHale are the two names that get mentioned whenever someone talks about post players.
Hold on.
Opponents trapped in McHale's torture chamber were subjected to an array of moves that left them confounded, wondering where on earth the man went and how the hell he'd gotten there. You never knew what he was going to throw at you. He'd combine fades into an up and under, pivot into an uncontestable fallaway, or whatever else struck his fancy. It's still striking to see him twist and wind through defenders with his moves the same way Kyrie Irving splits defenders with his handle. Averaging 21 points and 8 rebounds a game on an otherworldly 57% field goal percentage, McHale was a luxury for Boston.
That's crazy.
He would take on the toughest defensive assignment, allowing Bird to roam, and scored with enough efficiency and volume that his counterpart never had to carry the full offensive burden.
That's dope.
Rounding out the big three was the man in the middle, the Chief. Robert Parish.
What's up, Chief?
What if there was a secure place with lots of...
As the unsung hero of the team, Parish doesn't get talked about nearly as much as Bird and McHale, but make no mistake, the Chief was dangerous. Keeping in mind that these stats don't include Bill Russell because of a lack of recorded statistics, Parish is still the Celtics' all-time leader in offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, blocks, and is still the NBA's leader in games played.
Dang, for real?
You could rely on Chief for 16 and 10 with Duncan-esque consistency. The man was always in shape and feasted on opposing defenses simply by outrunning them.
Because now I got a question. I never really kept up with the Celtics. Like, all this is new to me. Because now it got me thinking, like he said, he can't really count Bill Russell because, you know, what he said. But I'm trying to think after this time frame, like, who was on the Celtics as a big man. My mind goes straightly to, just because I'm younger, it goes straightly to KG. But did he play center? He probably played power forward, maybe? Before KG, it's not coming to my mind, like, who was there. So y'all would have to help me fill in those blanks, because I'm trying to think, like, what? That's crazy. He's still a top
God
one?
only knows how many points he scored because he hustled his way down the court, setting up easy outlet passes. He shot well from the field, was a good free throw shooter, had a reliable jumper, defended, rebounded, set Steven Adams-like picks, and did all the little things. There wasn't a ton of room for heroics on such a loaded roster, so you couldn't count on Parish jumping out at you with a 39-point game, but he embraced being the third option the same way Scottie Pippen embraced being the second. Never forget that Robert Parish held his own in the age of giants against Ralph Sampson, Olajuwon, Kareem, Moses, Ewing, and the rest of them.
Handles, okay.
At point guard was Dennis Johnson, one of the most underrated players ever. That's a video for another time, though. For the Celtics, DJ fulfilled his role as the best defensive guard of his era. With 9 straight all-defensive selections from 79 to 87, only Kobe made more all-defensive teams as a guard. He was...
You know what's crazy? And I'm kind of really upset I'm about to say this. I've never heard of him. And I love defense. I feel like defense truly wins games. Anybody can score. But defense is that hustle. That's that extra, you feel me? That a lot of people lack, especially during the regular season. And I'm kind of upset that I never heard of him. Like, what? Oh my gosh. See? I learn something every day. That's crazy. But just him talking about this makes me realize how easy, not saying it was for Larry, but how easy it made it look, because when you have a whole team that's willing to grind day in and day out, and it ain't no selfishness, it's no, like he said, it's not being upset about being third man, the sixth man, it don't matter. We trying to win at the end of the day, but we all gonna come out here and hustle as soon as we touch that floor. And that's what it seemed like this Celtic team had. Like, we ready. We all some dogs. Like, we all hustling. Like, that's
the best matchup on Magic of any player in the league. Set the table for everyone on his team and consistently came through in money time.
That's dope.
He and Bird had what some refer to as a telepathic connection, making tight wire action between them routine. He was the ringleader of the squad, and Bird still calls him the best player he ever played with.
That's dope, man. Bird
At
say
the other
that?
guard was Danny Ainge, a reliable double-digit scorer and wily little rascal that thrived on riling up the opposition and getting under their skin.
Danny!
Ainge was also one of the great shooters of the era and went on to demolish the single-season three-point record in 1988.
He talks shit too, y'all.
A talented multi-sport athlete, Ainge remains the only high schooler to be named a first-team All-American in football, baseball, and basketball.
Dang.
And coming off the bench was the Celtics' secret weapon, Bill Walton. Drafted first overall by the Portland Trailblazers in 1974, Walton had a transcendent stretch of basketball in the late 70s, guiding the Blazers to the NBA championship in 77 and winning league MVP in 78.
Dang.
Injuries derailed his career at the end of his 78 season, though, and he played in just 14 games over the next 4 seasons.
Only 14 games in the next 4 seasons? What was his injuries? That is insane. And was that the last time the Portland won?
By 86, Walton was a liability and a shell of the player he once was. Looking for redemption and one more chance to be a part of something special, he called Red Auerbach to see if the Celtics would be interested in trading for him. The deal went through, though health still remained the biggest question on everyone's mind.
What was wrong with him?
Could his body withstand the grueling championship campaign these Celtics were setting out on? Well, in the 100 games that the Celtics played that season, Walton played in 96 of them.
Okay.
He won the 6th Man of the Year award, thanks to his size, smarts, rebounding ability, and defensive instincts.
And that goes back to when you on a good team or when you surrounded by other hustlers or that type of mentality, mindset, that mentality of winning. We're trying to be great. We're a team. It makes you want to be great. You know what I'm saying? But I wish he would have said his injuries because, wow, 14 games and 4 seasons.
He was still every bit of the best passing big man ever, and found a kindred spirit in Bird, who also reveled in elevating the talent level of his teammates and in the fine details of basketball. To boot, Walton added an Andy Bernard dynamic to the team. He had had his good old days and seen them drain through his fingers. Yet here he was, once again, with a chance
Y'all
to be a part of something historic,
moving without
completely
the ball,
aware
man.
and appreciative of the fact that this was and would always be the good old days of Celtics basketball. In all, the roster touted 5 Hall of Famers. 5. A whole lineup. And every starter on the team was a double-digit scorer. They gelled together to form a hive mind presence.
Look at that, everybody running the floor. Everybody running the floor.
Bird's brainchild.
3-man weave without the weave.
If Bird were cutting, DJ would put the ball where it was supposed to be the second it was supposed to be there. If McHale was rolling on some poor soul in the post and got doubled, Ainge would be in the perfect place for a kickout. If Parish got open down the court, you could bet that the ball would find him. Emulating Bird's all-around prowess, the Celtics could beat you in any which way.
As a coach, as a player, as a trainer, as a fan, you love basketball like this. Everybody around the floor, ain't nobody snowbirding. Everybody's hustling. Everybody got each other's back. You feel me? Like it's like it makes everything easier. What? Okay. So do y'all think this Celtic team was like a super team? You know how nowadays they say super teams. So was this Celtic team like a super team? Or was it just, do y'all think this 1986 Celtics team is the best team ever? Talk to me, man. Talk to me.
Whatever you did, they did better. If you had a speedy, heady guard, you had the pleasure of being locked down by Dennis Johnson. If your calling card was your big men, you had to contend with the greatest front court of all time. Not razor sharp defensively, the hive mind will beat you into a pulp with their passing. Your offense isn't clicking on every conceivable cylinder. Okay. You would be swarmed, you would turn the ball over, and every shot you took would be smothered. And if you let the game stay close down the stretch, Larry Bird would put the nails in your coffin. They had answers for everything. They could change their style of play on a whim and excel at it. Bird, Ainge, and backup point guard Jerry Seasting were all dead-eye shooters. The big men were some of the best post players to ever play. They could put out an absolutely massive lineup with Bird at the 2, McHale at the 3, and Parish and Walton in the middle. They could go small with no loss of quality with McHale at center and Bird at the 4.
Dang.
Craziest of all, they really wouldn't even need to size up or size down. The 86 Celtics are still one of the only teams in history to be able to play a small ball style with a gargantuan starting lineup.
And you know what's crazy, like I'm thinking about it, is that's dope to have that type of lineup again, because you have other teams who may have a great starting five, but their bench, trash. I wouldn't say trash because a lot of people been getting on me about that word, but their bench is so-so, okay? It's so-so. And just by, this explanation, it seems like it didn't matter. The bench was good. Starting five was good. We could play small. We could play big. Either way, we're going to get up and down that floor. We're going to hustle, And that wears teams out because some teams, I'm going to say majority of teams don't have that. They may have like 3 or a good 5 people to give you that energy, but not the whole team. Not the whole team.
Everyone was mobile enough to push the pace and stay active.
Look at that.
Inside-outside proficiency could space the floor. They could defend and corral nearly all types of scorers, and their passing would carve defenses to shreds.
Look, pass and cut, pass and cut. Look, everybody's moving, bro. Everybody's moving. There's nobody standing.
If we're checking boxes, the Boston Garden in the 1980s was the best home court in sports.
I am a business hotel. I eat, sleep, and breathe efficiency. I'm looking for someone who appreciates high ROIs and even higher RPMs. I would be honored to be your perfect somewhere.
Oh yeah, so y'all know, got that Indian. Who's that, y'all? Who's that? Y'all know
already some 50 years old, the dingy dungeon halls of the Garden had been host to some of the greatest players and moments in sports history, offering comfort to its allies and peril to its enemies. The crowd was insatiable and earned a reputation for both their devotion and potential for viciousness. The rafters were littered with championship banners and retired numbers in such quantity that they became superfluous. The Celtics took advantage of this and ran with it, notching a 50-1 home record, including the playoffs.
Woo. Y'all see Bill running that flow?
No,
y'all see Bill running that flow?
They weren't that athletic, and they had a tendency every now and then to get bored and take their foot off the gas
Bill?
against bad teams.
Injuries?
Could they have gotten to 70 or even 72 wins? Sure, and you can hold that against them, but tell me, when we're talking about something as grand as the greatest team of all time, how much do those 3 to 5 regular season games really matter?
Okay, so that was my next question, because I said what I don't like about today's NBA is how much they rest their star players. I mean, I get it. I understand that you have to take care of your body. But, because you want to, I don't know. Y'all got to let me know what y'all think of that. Because I feel like back in the day, how many times did you see Michael Jordan rest? How many times did you see Kobe rest? Kobe Kobe was playing preseason games. Michael Jordan was playing preseason games. You know, I can't speak. I'm sure Larry was. You know, I wasn't born then, but from what you all tell me, it's like there was no rest days. If it was, like he said, it was like 2 to 3 games. You know, so it's just like, but nowadays, boy, they rest for a minute. For a minute.
As we established in the beginning of the video, the Celtics lost the '85 finals to the Lakers for the first time in franchise history. The loss stung deep, and members of the team still believe that they let the series get away from them. With a newfound inspiration and the drive to reclaim what they believed was theirs, they tore through the league with one team in mind. The rivalry between the Celtics and the Lakers should need no background. Since the days of Jerry West and Elgin Baylor competing against Bill Russell and Bob Cousy, the two franchises have defined the NBA within and without. Today, the two franchises account for nearly half of all championships in NBA history. And the rivalry was never more intense than in the 80s, as Magic Johnson and Larry Bird presented their teams and their sport to the world. Since their iconic college basketball championship showdown, the two had assumed the role as battling titans, trading blows with one another, daring to push the boundaries of basketball to fit their own needs and desires. No pass was too extraordinary, no shot too outrageous. And after the Lakers had landed such a damaging blow in the finals, Bird and the Celtics were eager to return the favor. In the 2 regular season matchups between the two squads, the Celtics came away with victories both times against the defending champ.
There was not nobody just standing there looking at him like, what you gonna do with the ball? It's consistent moving, bro. I'm telling you, people make basketball so hard, but if you just consistently move, who was it? Phil Jackson? No, or Greg Popovich. I think he always ran like a triangle offense, always, which is basically just cut, pass, but it's like in a triangle. I can't remember if it was him or Phil Jackson. I don't remember. But either way, it was more like, it's just pass and move. Because somebody's not going to be watching.
And while they no doubt enjoyed the bragging rights that this afforded them, their true crusade began in the playoffs. In round 1, they found themselves matched up with the 40-win Chicago Bulls and an extraordinary young guard named Michael Jordan. Having missed most of the season with an injured foot, Jordan was eager to assert himself and unleash his latent talents. He did just that. After a 49-point performance in Game 1, Jordan put on a spectacle in Game 2 by setting the NBA record for most points in a single playoff game.
Hey, Bird was saying,
63.
Hold on.
Bird famously described the effort as God disguised as Michael Jordan. It was a glimpse into the future of the NBA and a coming-out party for the league's next great star.
Who was on that roster?
Ultimately, for the series, though, it didn't even matter. The Celtics won both games. Not even such an extraordinary performance as Jordan's was enough to dent the armor of the Celtics, who then won Game 3 to sweep the series. And after killing God, I can't say that. In the next round, Boston...
Wait, after one Game 3 to sweep the series, so in the 80s, it was only... Hold on, he said 1 Game 3 to sweep the series. Yeah, so I guess they only went to Game 3 in the 80s. When they start going to, like, you know, Game 4... Am I saying that right? I hope I'm saying that right. Because now it's like the first person to 4 wins. So I guess the first person to 3 back then won. I wonder when that changed. I thought it was always 4. I didn't know that. See, I learn something new every day.
Boston was faced with MVP runner-up and the league's leading scorer, Dominique Wilkins, and his Atlanta Hawks. Though the Celtics had won all 4 of the regular season matchups with the Hawks, each contest was decided in the single digits, and most had come down to the final moments. Dominique represented Bird's toughest matchup in the East, with his boundless athleticism and potential for incredible outbursts. The Celtics succeeded in containing him for the most part, though, putting up walls to the lane and closing out on his jump shots. Though they were competitive through the first 3 games, the Hawks were at the mercy of the Celtics and found themselves down 3-0. With Game 4 in Atlanta and a series victory for Boston all but certain, Wilkins and backup point guard Spud Webb caught the Celtics with their foot off the gas, combining for 58 points and denying them a 4-game sweep. Back in Beantown for Game 5, Bird and company took the opportunity to remind the Hawks, themselves, and the league that this was their year. In one of the great statement games in playoff history, Boston turned an 11-point halftime lead into a 33-point blowout,
Dang.
punctuated by an absurd third quarter in which the Celtics outscored the Hawks 36-6.
Dang.
Defense turned into offense. Offense turned into more offense. And by the end of the period, the crowd was bursting with supreme confidence in their team.
They just can't believe what has happened to them. Crowd is starting to chant "Beat LA." A little premature.
The Celtics were a team of destiny, and the Garden knew it.
Dang.
Boston then easily dispatched a 57-win Bucks team in the Eastern Conference Finals. Though in fairness, Sidney Moncrief had sustained a hobbling foot injury earlier in the playoffs. He missed Game 1 and was ultimately held in check by the Celtics, who took the series in 4 games. Would a healthy Moncrief have made a difference? Unquestionably. Would the Celtics have swept the Bucks? I think it's unlikely.
So that goes back to, I gotta brush up on my basketball skills because I don't know no Moncrief. And I'm still tripping to how I didn't know DJ. You know what I'm saying? And I got a question for y'all. So was Dominique Wilkins, because everybody okay, well, I'm not gonna say everybody, but I feel like I was taught that he was more known as, that, like he said, athleticism and like a dunker. Like he brought that excitement. But could he really play? Like, was he really that guy? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of people relate him to just dunking and his athleticism. But was he really that guy? Like, hopefully I'm asking that right, but I'm sure y'all got me.
But would they still have won the series and advanced to their 3rd straight finals? Yes. In any case, the Celtics were now 4 wins away from capturing their championship and submitting their application to the all-time team discussion. All they needed was a worthy opponent. And they got one, though it wasn't the one they were expecting.
I'll tell you one thing that the Pegasus has over every other running shoe out there. It's the Pegasus 39.
That's because the defending champion Lakers had been upset in just 5 games by the upstart Houston Rockets and their mammoth combination of big men, 7'4" Ralph Sampson and 7-foot Akeem Olajuwon. And they intended to prove that their victory over the Lakers had been no fluke. After 2 Celtic victories in Boston, the series moved to Houston for the next 3 games. Here, the Rockets put their foot down and showed a resilience not yet seen against these Celtics, earning the respect of the basketball-watching public.
Ooh.
They won Game 3 by 2 points, helped in large part to Sampson's 24-point, 22-rebound performance. Still against the ropes, though, they faltered in Game 4, suffering a 3-point defeat. With a 3-1 series lead through the first 4 games, the Celtics were on the brink of their destiny. They'd been able to mitigate the Rockets' size advantage on the boards, though the 23-year-old Olajuwon had succeeded in making himself known as an intimidating and impressive young talent.
He was 23. He was a big guy, 23.
Boston looking to close out their season with a championship in Game 5, Olajuwon played an inspired game with 34 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocks. The Rockets won and ensured that no championship would be hoisted on Houston's home floor, but not before damning their championship chances. Just into the second quarter of the game, Sampson had gotten a mismatch on 6'1" Jerry Seasting. After some pushing and jostling for position, Sampson turned around and delivered 2 quick, heavy blows to Seasting, igniting a bench-clearing altercation.
Celtics fan, y'all ain't tell me about this now. Y'all ain't tell me about this. Word. Look at him. He's about to tackle him. Y'all, come on, man. Y'all gotta update me with this stuff.
Sampson was subsequently ejected from the game, though Olajuwon did carry the Rockets to a victory and forced a trip back to Boston. The Celtics were pissed. They were pissed that they'd let that game get away from them. They were pissed that they'd let Houston keep the series alive. And they were pissed that Sampson had squared off against a player over whom he had a 15-inch height advantage. At practice the day before Game 6, the players worked themselves into such a feverish lather, playing with so much physicality, that head coach Casey Jones had to call off practice.
Dang,
the Garden was no different. The fans were delirious, setting a new kind of record for malevolent trash talk, with most of their attention focused on the imposing Rockets center.
Now, I'm mad at y'all. I'm mad at y'all because I didn't know nothing about this. Y'all ain't tell me this, bruh. Y'all left this big piece out. What?
The team and their fans wanted to win, to claim their rightful place at the height of the sport, and they wanted to make the Rockets regret the day they ever messed with the Boston Celtics.
Dang.
And the instrument for that righteous fury was none other than Larry Bird. For one game, Larry Bird played a different sport in what has been described and immortalized in many different ways as the greatest game he ever played. At first glance, you notice his box score wasn't all that sensational. 29 points, 11 rebounds, 12 assists on 47% shooting. He didn't score 60, it wasn't a near quadruple-double, and he hit no buzzer beaters. But you only have to watch the game to see that he was, in classic Bird fashion, everywhere, doing everything, at all times. Disrupting passing lanes.
And at that time, this is what, well, not that at that time, right now, this is what superstars lack. That competitiveness. He knew I had to put the team on. He knew if I don't win this game today, I'm going to take all the blame. Like, just mentally, he know he going to take all the blame. You know what I'm saying? And that's that level that separates you from everybody else. Because he's like, I got to freaking win. I got to freaking win. They just did my prayer like this. Practice got canceled because we was hot. Like, hot level. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I got to go out here and take over. And he did that. He did that.
Finding his teammates, even winning a jump ball against Olajuwon. He was the king.
I know he was.
Basketball was his kingdom. The Celtics walked out with a comfortable 17-point victory as world champions, with Bird remarking himself that it was the best performance of his career, the only one that he ever felt totally prepared for. Afterwards, Red Auerbach blessed the team as one of, if not the greatest he'd ever seen.
Oh, he must have drink.
To recap, you take one of the most talented starting fives ever, composed of the greatest front court of all time, with the greatest forward tandem to ever play basketball, and watch them eviscerate their opponents with stifling two-way play, dazzling passes, suffocating defense, exquisite shooting, and sublime post-play. They win more games than have ever been won by their illustrious club and proceed to rampage their way to a championship, culminating in the best game in the career of one of basketball's most brilliant talents. The Boston Garden stands no more. Demolished in 1998 after 70 years of service and replaced with a building with air conditioning. I'll never get to see it. Never get to ask the walls my questions, nor gag down a Sam Adams surrounded by insufferable Boston sports fans. Among the distinguished teams that called the parquet floor home, one stands alone. And if those walls were still around, if that floor could talk, I know what I'd ask them. And I think I already know the answer they'd give. They'd tell me that the 1986 Boston Celtics were the greatest basketball team of all time.
Alright, so I gotta ask y'all this. Do y'all think the 1986 Celtics is the best basketball team of all time? Yes or no? If y'all still with me, hope you are. Are they the best basketball team of all time? That's number one. Number two, would you call them a super team, as they call them today? And I want you to, if you were a Celtics fan, after the 1986 team, who's your next Celtics favorite team? Let me know. Also, a bonus question: if you are a Celtics fan, what do you think about the Celtics now with Tatum, Brown, Horford, Smart? What do you think about them now? Let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. It's a little long for me. It's a long video, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you for putting this video to my attention. Hopefully you guys watch it all the way through and you're at the end with me right now. Hopefully you all comment and talk to me in those comment sections. Let me know any other videos like see me do. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and push that notification bell so you know notifications post. That being said, see you guys next video.